Let's start by asking ourselves a very basic question. How long would you be able to sustain yourself if you were to stop working right now? What I just asked you was a definition of wealth. Let me tell you a story of Robert Kiyosaki, an American businessman and author whose estimated net worth is over $100 million. Robert Kiyosaki didn't come from a wealthy family. His family was like most people who worked hard and earned a good living, but didn't have the right financial education. In an interview about his best-selling book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he was asked about the turning point in his life. To that he replied, it all started with a question he asked when he was 9 years old. He asked his father, who had a PhD degree, "Dad, can you tell me how to get rich?" Unfortunately, he didn't know the correct answer because he wasn't wealthy himself. He wasn't poor at the time. In fact, he was making a lot of money, but considering his financial decisions, it was prominent that he was in debt. Robert noticed his friend Mike would have all the expensive toys and could note that Mike's father was rich. Later, Robert went to Mike's dad to learn how the rich are rich. Mike's dad didn't think much of that 9-year-old kid, but with much perseverance, Robert was able to convince Mike's dad to teach him. And this is where the tale of Rich Dad, Poor Dad began, Rich Dad being Mike's father and Poor Dad being Robert's father. Rich Dad would make Robert play Monopoly, and through his own Mr. Miyagi moves, taught him through the game that it is essential to own assets in your life. But what's important to understand is the difference between assets and liabilities. To put it simply, assets put money in your bank, while liabilities take money out of the bank. To be rich, it is the most simple and important rule to follow. Most of the rich people in the world purchase assets, while the middle class and poor people acquire liabilities. Liabilities are often confused as assets when one is not financially educated. This leads them into a vicious cycle. The poor dad in the novel is a person with a job and is the sole source of income where he gets money as salary. This earned money is then used up for various things such as expenses, food, transportation, taxes, credit card bills, loans, and many other material things. But now if we look at the cash flow pattern of the rich dad, instead of having a job as the only source of income, he looks to invest in assets, things that will put money in his pockets, even if he is not actively involved. These include instruments like mutual funds, income-generating real estate, stocks, bonds, royalties, and many more. This can be termed passive income. Passive income is something that earns money and doesn't require you to trade your time for it. So, in other words, you would be earning money even as you're sleeping. From this, we can understand that even though Poor Dad was earning a lot of money, he was also spending a good amount of it on liabilities. This eventually did not allow him to purchase and acquire any assets, thus not being able to grow his money and eventually falling into debt. Whereas Rich Dad had a greater understanding of what to do with his money by dedicating his life to investing and minimizing his liabilities. Even though he wasn't very rich in the beginning, he was patient and invested in various assets, making him a very rich man later on in his life. This shows that having more assets than liabilities leads to having more income than expenditure, as opposed to acquiring lots of liabilities compared to assets, leading to income being equal to expenditure, or maybe even less. This is one of the major reasons why the rich are getting richer. Their assets create enough to pay expenses, with the remainder being reinvested into more assets. The asset column continues to grow, and as a result, the income also grows. Hard work was done by both Rich Dad and Poor Dad, but having different views and perspectives led to such different outcomes. Both dads gave importance to education and learning, but they were on opposite sides of the coin when it came to learning about money. The Poor Dad would say that investing is risky and that it cannot be afforded, and the Rich Dad would say that risks can be managed and would ask how assets can be afforded. The Poor Dad would say, study hard so you can find a good company to work for, whereas the Rich Dad would recommend studying hard to find a good company to buy. The book also teaches us how fear drives us humans. We work to earn money every single day because we're scared of being broke. This way, we keep slogging to earn, hoping that we no longer have the fear of having no money, rather than facing fear and tackling it head on. Even the desire to buy goods and services for happiness leads us down the same road of wanting more, to earn more, to spend more. But this is a temporary pleasure and gives us only a short-lasting sense of security, as these joys are still liabilities. These emotions get the best of us, and we forget that we can control them if we put in effort into understanding money and the power that it possesses. Unfortunately, it isn't taught to us in school, and not being able to learn about money, we surrender to it and become its slaves. We give our souls to the devil and let it run our lives. Investing, understanding the markets, accounting, and understanding the law are areas in which you must expand your knowledge if you want to increase your financial intelligence quotient. What you can take away from this is that having a good education isn't the most important thing. It's the fact that those who are willing to use their education to take a chance, take a risk, are the ones who will eventually come out on top. It will take time to get it right, but eventually you'll figure out what went wrong in past attempts and learn from your mistakes. Being afraid of failure is normal, but it only restricts us from unlocking our true potential. Taking the leap of faith is crucial. But what's the first step? Save a percentage of your income, and when the opportunity presents itself, think and take your shot at owning an asset. It can be real estate, bonds, or a couple of stocks for that matter. Accumulate these assets and let them pay for your luxuries in life. It will not happen overnight, but it definitely won't happen if you don't start using money as a tool to make you more of it. With the right education and decision-making, we all have what it takes to be rich.